Welcome to week 4 of the Order curriculum. And here we're going to focus on increasing your ability to use your spiritual senses and to open them more and more and more. Now, first of all, let me tell you that it will be a process, but it doesn't have to be a very long process. At least you will be able to use your spiritual senses very quickly. And then as you use it, just like any other ability, they will become more refined, more detailed, and overall clearer, right? Now, for that purpose, I have to give you some explanations first, okay? We have to understand how internal representations of the external world come about. Okay. The way you perceive the external world is not the way it really exists. Okay. The senses, okay, which includes more than just the physical senses, which includes more than seeing, taste, smell, hearing, and tactile senses. But they are kind of like the interface, okay? So before anything can be represented inside of your conscious awareness, it has to be filtered through these sensory channels, okay? So even spiritual activity has to be filtered through those. And like I said, you have a couple of them. You have visual, you have tactile, you have auditive, you have smell, and you have taste. These are essentially the channels that are used to represent internally what is going on outside of you, okay? When you call a spirit, that spirit is pure energy, okay? But your nervous system will represent it in terms of a certain shape, face, voice, smell, okay? When you work with, let's say, spirits from the underworld, you will often smell sulfur. Okay, now why am I telling you this? Why am I telling you this? You have to readjust your reticular activating system. Okay, what is your reticular activating system? You have so much information that is all around you. Based on what your reticular activating system is tuned into, you will perceive a different reality, or you will be able to tune into different aspects of it. The main reason why most people can't perceive spirits and aren't very good at perceiving the energy dynamics around them is because they don't pay attention to them. Their reticular activating system is not tuned into that, okay? This is also a big part of the control that is out there, okay? People tell, or they're being told, even as kids, to not pay attention to that. That's not, no, don't pay attention to that. That's not real, and all of this stuff, right? So they're being affected by it, but they can't perceive it. So spirits are all around us. There's all kinds of activity going on around us, but we can't, or most people don't know why, don't know what's actually going on, okay? How do you adjust your reticular activating system? By paying attention to the specific things that you want to perceive. And as you do that, you're opening that level of reality up to you, okay? Let me say that again because this is crucial. Your spiritual senses will become better the more you use them, okay? So let's say the exercise that you've been given last week in terms of directing energy and all of that. Most of you could feel the energy around yourself, right? Now, when you were creating the chi ball, some of you could see the color of the energy, some of you couldn't. For those of you who couldn't, pretend that you see it, pretend that you see whatever bluish energy, whatever flow, and as you pretend, this level of reality will open up to you. Okay. Now, what you will find is that as you keep pretending, the actual sensation will actually arise without you doing anything. And this is when spiritual perception will become very, very easy. Okay? So at first, sometimes it is about pretending. And as your reticular activating system adjusts, you will actually perceive it. But this is not make-believe. It is actually there. Okay? Any spirit, by virtue of quantum physics, is accessible to you like this all the time. Any consciousness is in contact with you. You just have to tune into it, you see. And more on that later, and I'm going to show you how to apply that practically. But it's important to understand what I just said, okay? Understand that the pathways in your nervous system determine how the external world is represented internally, okay? And the pathways are the different senses, okay? Let's say the visual, tactile, auditive, smell, and taste, okay? Training and using your imagination is very easy by readjusting something within these senses, okay? Your inner process could be defined as your self-talk, your images, okay, auditive, visual, usually weaker but also present smell and taste, and how you feel in your body is your inner state, okay? So by adjusting either one of those, you can change your internal representation of the external world. And always remember that how you internally represent what is going on around you determines how you will act in this world, okay? Because the map is not the territory, okay? Something different. Depending on what you tune into, first internally, determines what you will perceive, okay? And that includes spirits. And I'm going to show you how to apply that in just a second. But understand that it requires a small adjustment within you to go from everyday mundane perception over into spiritual perception and to have a full-blown communication and conversation with the spirit of your choice. Okay? Also, you should play with this ability and play with your inner states, change them frequently, and have fun with this. Okay? Have fun with this, because communication usually is considered like a 50-50 deal, where one person is communicating something, okay, and what they express as an external expression is the result of how they have processed things internally, and that then again is taken in through the senses by another person. It is processed internally and interpreted in a certain way and all of that stuff. Now, this is more than a 50-50 deal, because if you take control over your inner state as you communicate with that person, you will be able to trigger specifically what it is that you want in that person, because it's always a 50-50. And based on how you internally feel and process things, it will literally have a different outcome on how the other person reacts to you. Okay. There was this one experience when I was in a forest and I was going for a walk and I saw a gnome. Okay, I don't know if you know what those are, but they're these little tiny beings, and they're spirits of the forest, right? Nature spirits, similar to fairies and whatnot, right? And they exist, right? But I was having a conversation with it. I was talking to it, and I was asking him, why can't most people see you? And he told me it's because people don't pay attention to us. Okay, and he basically told you exactly what I was just explaining in scientific terms to you. So developing your spiritual perception is a lot about paying attention to it. Okay, and soon you will, you probably already are, but you will be able to have a conscious connection with the spirits around you. Okay, and you'll have conversations with them. You will ask them to do things for you, and you will see that they will actually make them happen. And you will see that the messages that you receive actually have real world consequences. And you will see play out what they told you would play out. And at that point, you will know that this is objectively real. Objectively real. You are using the interface of your imagination and nervous system to communicate with another dimension. Okay? And through that interaction, you are able to cause physical shifts. Okay. Another thing that you should strive to find out is what your preferred sense is, or what your preferred sensory channel is. Okay. Why? Because it's the easiest access point to influence yourself. Okay. And as you have adjusted that, the other channels or the other parts of the internal representation will adjust very quickly. Okay, so let's say, I'll say around 60% of the population is visually dominant. Okay, so you would have the easiest time by conjuring up an internal image, and then adjust, and then become aware of how you feel about that image. Okay, so you create that image, and then you ask yourself how it will feel in your body, and then you go into the sounds and make them clearer. Okay, and based on that, you change your internal process, and also would begin your spiritual communication with an image where you see the entity. Okay. Others, have a different preferred system. A lot of people are tactile. That includes me. Okay. My personal hierarchy is I'm tactile as first, so body sensations, then visuals, then auditive, and then taste and smell. Okay. So you will find this out by trial and error. And just pay attention to how you process your world. Okay, let's say if you're tactile and you have a certain impression about a person, it's more like a feeling in your body. You literally almost feel like a resistance within you to talk to that person. It's almost like a physical sensation in your physical body. Okay. Also, you understand things holistically. It's kind of like a feeling of things. You feel things out. It's important that you feel comfortable in your environment, like physically feel comfortable. Okay, a visual person would have to have a visually stimulating surrounding. Okay, because it has to look nice. instead of feel nice. That's like that, or of course, it ideally does both, but something looking nice is more important than feeling nice. Okay, a visual person thinks in images, that what would trigger you, for instance, would be the way a person looks at you. That's usually a visually dominant person. Like the way they were looking at me. You know, some people are auditive, and to them, their internal dialogue is the most important thing. They structure their inner world by talking to themselves about it. Okay, and to the extent, don't get me wrong, nobody's 100% one thing and 0% anything else. No, we're all a mix of those. Okay, but we all have a preferred one that we use to represent the external world. Okay, and part of that is it's just habits. You know, there are all kinds of factors that play into that, into how your neurons and your pathways develop. I'm sure some of it is genetic too, but that's not even the point. That's not important, because you can use all of those channels. But for the sake of making it easier for you, it's best if you find out what your preferred system is. Now, over time, you will become synesthetic. What does that mean? When you work with your spiritual senses in a way that I'm going to just show you in a couple minutes, they will all be more active, and your spiritual perception will become multi-layered, if you will. Okay, so all of those channels are going to work together: your spiritual sight, your spiritual feeling, your spiritual hearing, taste, and smell. Okay, they will all work together, and it will be a very, very intense experience. It's more real than what you experience through the physical senses. Okay. Extremely clear, crisp, and yeah, very powerful, very powerful. Okay, so more on that in the exercise. Okay, begin this exercise the same way you started last week. Okay, just tune into your body. Relax all your muscles and begin to feel as if you're falling. Okay, and as you do that, your awareness and sensation of your energy body is going to become pronounced, and then move the energy field of your hands around your body. Okay, pretty close to the skin, but still a couple inches above it, and you will feel a response in your energy body. Okay. And then draw a pentagram in front of you. Okay. A bluish pentagram. The energy should be blue. Now, for most of you, you're not going to see the color of the energy right away. Okay, that's fine. That's not that important. But with your intention, you just sent out energy. Okay, and you created this pentagram. Now, as you are relaxed and in sensation or in awareness of your energy body, as you move your hand through the space where you created that pentagram, you will feel a slight resistance when you get in contact with it. It's quite subtle at first, but it's definitely as you pay attention, you will definitely feel it. It's a resistance, okay? And with time, that will increase. Now, keep looking at that and stay relaxed. And then, looking at that space, you will first see a semi-transparent or milky energy of that pentagram. Okay, you will see in front of you. You will see yeah, like I said, a milky or semi-transparent pentagram. Now, increase your awareness of the color of that energy too. Okay, How's that done? You just ask yourself, what's the color of that energy? And in your mind's eye, sooner or later, okay, it might take you a couple tries, but you will see the bluish energy that you created. Okay. Remember, you are opening yourself up to what is already there. Okay. So as you pretend that it is there, at one point it will actually be there in your perception. You see, your reticular activating system needs you to focus on something in order for it to adjust. Okay. And then hear the pentagram. Yes, you heard right. I want you to hear that pentagram. Ask yourself, what does it sound like? What does the energy of this pentagram sound like? And then go into smell and taste. Okay. This will increase your ability to sense subtle energy. And I guarantee you, as you keep doing this exercise, you'll get more and more and more sensitive. More and more sensitive to subtle energies. Okay. Next, I want you to work with your your body sensations in social situations. So ask yourself, what would it feel like if the situation went perfectly? And you'll see that things adjust. And I want you to do this at least a couple times a day.